EDG,
flex.
all right.
That's better. That's better. That's
Yeah.
right. Don't you dare. What if I told you that Zeri and Lulu? Oh God.
Yeah.
No.
You were saying hysterics. I couldn't quite hear you from down under, buddy. I mean,
dude,
look, you've got 5 bans, man. Like, what are you gonna do? You have to.
Oh, Sejuani. Does that mean Wukong? Wukong or Vi, isn't it?
Vi. You have to go
then,
Vi. I think you need the point and click. Unless you go, it's a bit random. Like, I feel like Wukong plus Yuumi is always good, but Yuumi's dead on this patch, so you can't really do that anymore. Good. I agree, by the way. Good. Cat's dead.
When are we going to get a champion that's like a dog that goes next to you? It's a partnership, right?
That's what you've got jungle pets for. That's what you got jungle pets for, man. You've got one of them is the little dog, right? I think it's the red one. As we also get an Aphelios, who's seen a rise to priority recently in the last week or so since we changed over to the new patch, and just got a couple of love tap buffs, I think mostly to the scaling of his passive. One of the numbers there got increased, and it's just not enough to edge him into meta as hello, scout on a Yone, it looks like will be the case, unless it's going to be trying to match the Jayce. I feel like the matchup is kind of playable, but it can be a little bit rough once that first item comes in. We'll see though, but I feel like for LNG,
Lulu.
and ban Lulu, well, actually for LNG, you probably want to pick up Lulu here. You've got 2 pretty solid hard engage options already between the Fate Sealed and that ultimate of Tarzan with the Glacial Prison. So you probably want to ban hard engages or frontliners. Yeah, I feel like that's also a pretty okay choice if you believe that this is going to be that Jayce going in the mid lane.
So for EDG, they need to ban Lulu, right? No one, chat, myself, nobody wants Lulu here, right? Put it in the bin. Because let's be real, it makes the bottom lane and more exciting. Meiko and Hung, they're great engaged supports. We don't want to see them on something passive. Nautilus, Leona are fantastic.
Unironically, Jay, I feel like they might not ban Lulu because Hung is so hung up on playing engaged supports. So we might just get 0 plus Leona bans because, let's be real, if you stack even more hard engage on this LNG side, it gets super oppressive. And I feel like you might just have to kind of, bite your tongue and deal with the Lulu. I feel like EDG are just going to ban Leona here. I think that might be the read. It's one or the other, right? You either deal with the Lulu or you keep them both on the table, expect the Lulu to go over, and then you take the Leona, so you have a little bit of, engaged turnaround in your own right. I think it's probably the best course of action now that they've banned the Nautilus.
Your brain. Oh, I could see it coming though. So both of them are up and back. Maybe the handshake deal, right? As Renekton gets banned away, LNG are going to leave support for counterpick. And that's kind of interesting because now I guess you can run Lulu with your hypercarry Aphelios if you want, but do you have enough engage?
Yeah, that's the problem I'm kind of seeing with the EDG lineup. Unless you want to go something like Orm top, but then you are really specking for like 2 items onwards, and LNG have so many proactivity tools. I feel like it would maybe be a little bit too overbearing. We'll see what the option will be. I feel like the Lulu is almost a kind of foregone conclusion here for EDG. Pick it up on Meiko. Aphelios Lulu, it's kind of almost the OG pairing before Thresh and Aphelios came in back in the day. So I guess the question is, where will this Jayce go? Is it going to go into this Yone or is it going to go into the Jax? You feel like it has to go into the Jax. It's the better of the matchups. Aurelion Sol is up.
Yeah,
but
Jamada.
Are they really going to pick it? I feel like the answer is no. I don't think there's a spot for it here. I think it just gets a bit one-shot. Gets a bit one-shot here. I think that's the sad conclusion, as it's going to be Kennen that we get. So a little bit more variety. We've seen a couple Kennens kind of poke their heads here in the LPL every now and again, but with Lulu plus Aphelios on the bottom side, I feel like Hung has kind of pick a litter in terms of support options, and he's going through a couple. Rakan is definitely a pretty okay pick here in terms of sort of buffing up that mid-game team fighting, but it's not going to provide the pressure you might want in the 2v2, that's for sure, but it will be the option here for Hung. More mid-game snap engages. I like it for the side of LNG because it's definitely what they've spec'd into here. It is really what the composition is all about. Throw those ultimates out, get on top of the enemy backline, and one-shot them with the Yone, with the Zeri.
I think the theme for LNG is obvious. Like, you've set it out perfectly. It seems like it all comes together cleanly. Run me through EDG on the other side, because I see team fighting potential, but I see range, but then I see pick potential, poke. Like, where does EDG want to spec into?
So I feel like EDG, yes, on paper, the composition's kind of all over the place, but they definitely thrive the most when they're in front of an objective first.
As well, Scout and Tarzan have brought the structure to be the first place team at the moment in the LPL, while for EDG, their climb is real. They're 7-2, and with the series win here today, they could match JDG, slot under them up in the top 2. And LNG and EDG would still be our top teams in the league, but hey, our playoff race would get even closer here. As remember that with a win today, LNG moved to 9. And 9 in the LPL has always been the safety net, has always been the playoff lock-in. It wouldn't be legitimate at this point, but we'd all know in our hearts that LNG today was the day that they locked in playoffs.
Hey man, it's like knowing that chances are, even though anyone's legend can make it into playoffs, man, mathematically, what are the chances, you know? So for LNG, it would feel like, you know, a complete certainty. I mean, it feels like a certainty already, but being able to sort of stave off EDG and keep them away from that first place spot, the coveted first place spot for the regular season, is going to feel very, very good for this side.
Jamada, I need to ask you, I just saw down there, are we getting a mountain soul this game? You know, does that still happen where you see dragon flying in the distance? I just saw a mountain dragon flying down there in the chasm on the top left of our screen. Does it still happen where you can tell the soul of the game?
Well, I guess it will be a very, very good theory.
Mountain soul, remember that. Yeah.
It's either mountain soul or second mountain. The mountain dragon is the second dragon. Okay? We'll open it up a little bit. It's one or the other.
Okay. Well, at the very least, something to keep track of is, at least in this game, I will say for game number 1, we got a different style of draft, right? We didn't get Zeri Lulu or Yumi. We got Aphelios with Lulu, but it's still not the Lucian Nami that we could have been walking into here. Very volatile lanes, I feel like, Jamada. Not even just bot, but solo lanes too can jump at the flip of a hat.
I feel like definitely the solo lanes are the more volatile, right? In the bottom side, you can kind of just sit back and relax, but here, at the very least, in the top side, you're going to see Zika do his best to try and find good trades when he can, but it's kind of hard into Kennen. The trade patterns normally are quite hard and difficult to navigate just because you have to walk away from a Kennen if you go in first. And once level 3 comes in, the stuns are going to be very quick to be stacked up with the passive, so trading just becomes that bit more difficult. As, funnily enough, the low HP bars of both of these top laners is kind of blood in the water here for Tarzan and Jiejie.
Just thinking about that twisted advance for the go in as Tarzan drops a ward, backs off. Zika up in this top lane. The trade before made it very viable, as you were saying, is Scout and FoFo battling it out. FoFo pushed up quite deep here as Scout's getting the setup for Tarzan. Thinking about going back, the all-in is there. Here we go, gank time as Permafrost is 2 shots away. FoFo flashes, but is it too late? Close to getting first blood. The flash, the turn, the turret shot, the burn for a close call.
Bro, that was so close. FoFo could have very easily gone first blood, but also Tarzan gets kind of creep blocked there, and I think potentially that brief window where he has to kind of faff about and then decides to flash to get the final auto in, the regeneration from the health pot could have actually been enough there. That's so insane. Tarzan kind of a little bit unlucky there, but FoFo does a really good job of drawing out the flash and almost finding first blood in that trade.
Well, that close call, that sets up a couple of summoners to be taken. Tarzan versus FoFo still going to be a beneficial traders. I want to note, Jamada, Scout burned nothing. So at the very least, even though Tarzan had to burn his own and almost died, still feels like a net win for LNG through mid.
Yep, absolutely. And when you think about if Tarzan can hit 6 before the flash comes up for FoFo, he's a bit of a sitting duck. It's pretty difficult to get away from both a Fate Sealed, a Glacial Prison, and maybe even just a Q3 knockup from Scout. So if Tarzan can power farm up, get to that 6 mark ASAP, they can maybe even just snowball it immediately into a Herald or a Dragon. It's kind of the pick of the litter for them.
I just feel like those neutrals, when you talked about EDG wanting to be on them first, is going to be something that we have to compare here for LNG as EDG do have a bit of a gold lead. Seems like right now that is through bot and jungle as a combination. I'm just trying to look in particular. Not too much up in that top lane, maybe about 100 gold so far. As it's a big way from Arla though, so comparison is not going to be quite on board at this point. Is that 600 gold lead, let's see if it evens out a little bit. That dragon going to be Ocean to kick us off. Now remember, Tarzan burnt that flash towards mid, burnt his own, but as FoFo gets the shove in, he just has to back off, pay respect to Scout. As now Tarzan heads down to bot to see if he can hover and find anything in the meantime.
Yeah, Tarzan just getting as much pressure as he can on the map, but for now, I feel like he's going to kind of struggle. There's not a lot of setup in the bottom side. It's mostly in the top side, mid lane, where he's got most access to finding these ganks, right? Ala should have priority a lot of the time here into Zika, which means he's going to be not necessarily always overextended, but he's going to be further up in the lane, easier in position to gank, and you can already see, like, level 6, it's here to scout, and FoFo just has to step all the way back. He cannot walk up to this. Gonna probably even miss the cannon, unfortunately, but Scout's just doing his job, right? He makes sure he doesn't body block it. Scout, you gotta commit to the cause. You gotta really commit to it. But still, doing the correct thing, forcing FoFo away, and now with that stacked wave, could have a window for a base, could have a window for a roam. Choice is his, but you can see EDG trying to break up this pattern of play because it's so telegraphed. If Scout overextends just a little bit, maybe the window's there, but he's not gonna do it. And EDG back away.
And you can see Hung already making the roam around as well. Folks, sitting at home, you're going to be like, oh, this is nowhere near like the last series. Guys, EDG, or maybe on LNG side, I should say, they're a very paced team. LNG are not really bloodthirsty. They're a team that have been, you know, I think one of the slower ones in the LPL so far. In fact, LNG, I'm not even going to say one of the slower ones. They are our slowest team, Jamada. Yeah, 34 minutes, 56 seconds. That is the average game time. They are 5 minutes slower on average than a team like Top Esports.
Crazy. Yeah, and, you know, earlier on you kind of mentioned that LNG as a team, they're kind of almost monotonous in style, right? They always kind of do and fall into the same kind of play styles and habits on the Rift. And that's not even necessarily a bad thing. I feel like, to me, LNG have shown us perhaps the most careful but calculated gameplay throughout the entirety of the LPL. And you could even see it in the early weeks that they were very calculated. They read the enemy team compositions really well and what their win conditions were, and just ensured that they could either shut them down or play so heavily towards their own that the enemy win conditions didn't matter. It was too difficult for the enemy opposition to actually play those games. And we could see a lot of that here in this game if they recognize, hey, you know what, EDG, if they get in front of the objective first, that's fine. As long as we don't get eaten up by a massive slicing maelstrom, it's fine. We can find the backline, and that's what we're looking for more often than not with our hard engage tools. Ooh. EDG, they're in front of the objective first, speaking of.
They are, but LNG had a numbers advantage there if they wanted to encroach the space. Arlet with no TP, so that Kennen wouldn't be available to join in for the fight, but as soon as LNG make the movement, EDG pay respect, and Dragon stops there for the time being. And Jamada, this paced out game is just going to be a bit of a farm fest continuing on for the time being. Junglers just going back to their camps, clearing out, second time around. And again, well, third time I should say, we're just at this point where level 6 is going to be hit. Jiejie with his, Tarzan now hitting his as well. Scout's already hit his ages ago. Like, we're just waiting for supports to match that and probably get a big Herald fight at this point, it feels like.
Yeah, we're waiting on Tarzan or Jiejie to make a play on a lane, right? Waiting for some kind of setup to occur, or for teams to want to heavily contest either objective. Could the play be onto Ala first? You've got the hover as well from Scout, so the pressure's definitely going to start to be felt from EDG. It seems like their answer is going to be get on top of this Dragon from Jiejie, shove in the bottom side wave, and trade it out there. So it'll be the Herald for Dragon trade, seems like for now, and it doesn't look like this handshake is going to be disturbed at all.
Wow.
What will it actually amount to later is, I guess, the question, right? How will the Herald be used as Zika?
Oh, that's ulti. Zika does decide to master at arms it, but Ala walks away. Doesn't really need to care too much, and straight up doesn't want to all in, considering Tarzan was the trade, as you said, towards the top side of the map. Tarzan even going deeper. Jiejie's like, I'll invade as well. But the difference is that Jiejie has no camps here. Tarzan has a full 3 camp clear to do.
Yeah, clean cross map from LNG. No weak side camps available. Back in the day, when jungle was a far more important role individually, that kind of stuff would matter a lot because the jungle camps had so much golden XP in them. These days, not so much, but either way, you take anything you get, right? Up trade is an up trade. And really nice from LNG, just to make sure that they're not losing out on any of those resources cross map. And it's not a Mountain Dragon second, so the soul is still on the table. As Leave has been left alone.
The quickness, the cleanse, the flash, and Leave is summonerless. Yeah.
Leave just about flashes out. It was a bit of a mind game there. Hang was waiting on for his W. That grand entrance, I think it's called, the knockup. But unfortunately, Leave just flashes out in time. Wanted to try and get the chain CC, but the cleanse comes out. So both summoners gone from the Aphelios. Maybe there's an angle there. Of course, Tarzan still yet to really make a major appearance in the lane outside of that first gank. We'll have to see as, oh, that was a cold park.
That was.
For Leave, so he feels quite good about it.
So Jamada, while we're just lolling about this slow early game, I need to share because today was a nice day for me. I went and got my tailoring done, wedding suits, you know.
Oh yeah,
you know,
congrats.
we're 3 months away. Yeah, I know. Big day. Getting nervous as hell. I can say that because my future wife is asleep right now. It's only 10:30. Why did you sleep? Anyway, burgundy suit, brother. I need to share because if anyone goes to Google right now and types in burgundy suit, that's what I'm gonna wear. And I'm saying all this because in this slow game, my mind wanders. It just goes to a different place. And I tell you what, I have never been more excited to wear a suit. Since working for LPL, I've worn 13 or 14 suits. I now have 14 suits in my wardrobe, no joke. Right, as flash away. Okay, we get in action. We are Tarzan, Glacial Prison. Oh, it doesn't get dodged away. Scouts ready to go all in. The flash, the fate is sealed, and we just need a bit of a mortal coil to come through as Jiejie gets knocked up. First blood, is it there? It is indeed. Over to LNG.
Finally, LNG finds some blood. It's 2 ultimates committed from the mid jungle, but they find Jiejie. Question is, did Tarzan get chunked out so much that he might not even be able to find the play? Zika also being about half HP, it seems like Ala's going to be able to defend this one up in the top side. So they find a pick, but it's not a window to drop the Herald. And Jake, there's only about 60 seconds left on that proc, so you're going to have to find the window soon. Otherwise, it might just be one of those unfortunate situations where you kind of just have to drop it mid, drop it bot, and kind of just hope it gets a charge in. You know,
we've seen one of those today, and it was like a couple of seconds away from plates going around. As we'll have a look again. Jiejie was so deep for this play. But LNG's chase and engage that you said in Champ Play is just huge.
Yeah, it's really hard to get away from. As Jiejie does a really good job of surviving a while. It's just kind of part of what Maokai does, right? But for now, Leave might not be so lucky.
Okay, against the corner, the Wild Growth is there. He's trying. But LP will take him down first with the help of Tarzan. 3v2 ain't fair as Herald does go down bottom lane. And LP's about to get a massive cash injection.
Yeah, he is indeed. And I mean, it was really nicely played by Meiko. Interrupted the knockup with his own off the Wild Growth, but frankly, not enough. No Gale Force at the time available, and Leaf still had those summoner spells from the earlier play. Even though he had the good guns, Leaf unfortunately just gets dropped. And like you say, Herald goes down on the bottom side. LP gets a bit of a cash injection. And he'll hopefully go back to base for himself and try and equal out that item disadvantage he is at. Really nice play for LNG, and that ultimate should be up by the time that next dragon spawns as well, Hungs that is. And they'll be able to find another fight on the bottom side, try and equal out that dragon count. And we can finally get to the bottom of the conclusion of that was
a reap. Like we're in a reap. This isn't real.
There we go. I was like, where are we? Are we in the Matrix? What's going on here? Where are we? Who are we? As again, really nicely played by Meiko. Interrupts the grand entrance knockup, but frankly, too much damage, too much CC, and Leave is in too awkward a position to move away. And Leave gets a play. I thought that was below the play. It was actually above it. Gets 175 for an auto attack. And now the dragon spawns in 15 seconds time. We'll see who exactly wants to contest it the most. EDG getting that first one, trying to get that second to get the snowball going will always feel good. For LNG, the team fighting composition, they can comfortably give it up if they really want to, if it means they can cross map. Because they know in 5 minutes time, they'll be able to very happily contest with all of these team fighting tools available.
So, Jamada, when you have a 1-0 Zeri and a 1-0 Yone on top of the team fighting tools you just mentioned and how the comp is going to operate, I think just overall, you are chilling. You're just sitting here going, yeah, man, we don't need to do too much. Scout and FoFo battle it out. Immortal Shield Bow is taken, but as long as dragons don't stack that earlier on, LNG, man, I mean, like, it's like me on a Saturday, maybe today's Saturday, but I'm not working, sitting there with, like, I've been enjoying a bit of Guinness. I think LPL is like an 18+ area anyway, so we're okay. But chilling, extra stout Guinness, that's what I feel like is, wow, that Leave goes melee, range flashes away. The repositioning was gorgeous. That was a Viper move, if I've ever seen one.
Word. That was definitely some manifestation of the spirit of Viper. And practically just 2v1s with Meiko at his back. And that's pretty much going to get them the dragon as well. Really well played by Leave. It's just so hard to deal with from the side of LPL. They don't have the damage or the CC without Tarzan there to stop the Aphelios from doing that. But I will mention, he loses both summoner spells again. But there's not necessarily going to be anything on the cards for the next couple of minutes, as the Herald is also being taken too, so it won't really matter as much as we actually get a cloud. So I guess that hit is...
I don't know if it was the one we weren't going to see. Mountain just flying off the roof, but then again, we have a Chemtech Dragon now. Hang on, with this TP, is this int or smart? Int or smart? Let's have a quick vote, as Zika does have flash available and Master at Arms. He's going to get nuked out, but they're helping his team. He gets away only just. Zika was able to dodge through, but Ala is just away with murder. Almost murder.
That was very interesting. I'm not gonna lie. I think that was a heist. The getting away with murder heist.
True.
That was kind of nuts. I don't know how you ever get out of that, but good job, Allah, for surviving. Doesn't even blow his flash.
Oh yeah.
For goodness sake. Yeah, LNG unfortunately can't capitalize on what was a very deep teleport, but they still do have the Herald, and interestingly enough, it was given to Scout, which is
okay.
I'm not sure why. Normally, of course, it's the jungler that picks it up. I have to see where, I was going to see where Scout drops it, but it's probably going to be the mid lane, so is it much a question? I feel like it isn't, as the bottom side tower goes down. EDG picks that one up very happily, and I actually think the top side went down too, to Ala. Yeah. So EDG, first to the punch on both those side lane towers, and that's going to be a nice injection of gold for both the side laners respectively.
Well, we'll continue to chill out then until third dragon, because at this point, with gold dead even, with 2 kills only over to LNG, with trades of turrets going to EDG, I just feel like after watching top esports and RNG go head to head, skirmish early, put everything on the line in the first 15 minutes, we suddenly have 2 teams that are confident in their elements of scaling and their elements of team fighting, as you talked about. You know, it got me thinking, you know, when you see something just kind of chilling out and your brain starts going around, I've already talked about suits. I've gotten to that point where I'm just like, yeah, everything on the table is EDG group up mid. Maybe the thought process will shift gears.
You know, you mentioned suits.
I did.
Something I've realized since I've been in the LEC studio a couple times now. I need more suits. Actually, because I'm only 23, quite young, especially as far as casters go.
You are, yeah.
And I've kind of just realized, one, you always need a nice suit generally. It's kind of just the go-to for the more formal events. But one, not to flex or anything, but after stealing a lot of Gulborg's wardrobe, which is the running me in the LEC studio, I look pretty good in most of them. So I need to get going. Maybe I find a burgundy suit. Maybe I'll get a bit inspired by it.
Yeah, I mean, burgundy's a great color. I have an orange and a red suit. Tarzan's out of this one. Don't worry about that, folks.
Yeah, he's alright. Don't worry.
When I was in Shanghai and for some events, I got an orange suit. No joke. Bright orange suit. And a bright red suit as well, which, I'll be honest, when I had makeup on stage, as most casters do, they won't tell you, but most casters do.
Yeah, we do.
It didn't look too great with my makeup, so yeah, it definitely didn't suit me, as Herald's going to be dropped top in the meanwhile. Meiko and Jiejie are running up here. I'm not sure about this plan. Kind of depends on Ala right now. Ala's positioning though is great. Ala. Oh my god! It's shock therapy! That's illegal in most countries. It's Tarzan and Scout, the ones who experience it head first, but the trauma belongs to Tarzan.
All shock and awe there from that flank, and that's what LNG have to be afraid of 24/7. It's Ala finding the backline or finding a pinch up maneuver in that kind of situation, and very lucky, I feel like, LNG to walk away with everyone but the jungler. I feel like it should have been more. I feel like just about walking out. I think it was a lot of the ultimates being thrown out from the side of LNG to kind of get away. It was what bought them enough space, but I mean, we'll get a replay of it straight away. As Platts comes in, it's all about the Herald, right? They just want the Herald to charge in, maybe get the tower if they're lucky. Hung just in a very unfortunate position, able to dash out, but you can see it coming from a mile away. But there's just not enough time to respond, and not the knockups. I think it is just that ultimate from Tarzan that gets thrown out, which just about slows the approach from the side of EDG. And I'll say it, if Leave was here, Leave would have probably murdered everyone. Both the summoners were up, has the IE already as well. He is online and ready to absolutely rock LNG.
I'll say that EDG, they've only got a kill, but they have picked their moments pretty well. You know, they've given away very little, but they have picked their moments in their setup pretty precisely, even the threat of it. As now onto Dragon, as they clear away vision, they start grouping up yet again. They are relying on Arlo, who has to join in, who almost has that Slicing Maelstrom up and available once more. All ultis, in fact, up for EDG is worth a note, because as LNG are waiting on quickness, on Glacial Prison, they're trying to buy a bit of time. EDG can pull the trigger at any time, as Hung is so close there to the quickness. So damn close as Tarzan setting up on the back end. Circuit's bound out as Tarzan gets the pick off. It's onto this Maokai here. Jiejie has the flash open. The Fate field is great as the defensive ulti from Arla buys space. Tarzan flashes away, leave. Running in the flash over the wall. Viper who? What a replacement here from the LDL. That's a double. And LNG are in damn trouble.
You've heard the filling shoes, but Leave is about 2 sizes bigger than Viper right now. Oh my god, he just annihilates LNG. In front of that, they get the Dragon and they're just going to go towards the Baron. They've got the time for it. That was just 200 years on repeat for EDG. And all of a sudden, a game which felt at the very least playable for the leaders here in the LPL in the regular season is going to get a lot damn harder as the Baron is picked up for EDG.
I love when players come up from the LDL and that same aggression that, you know, we see in some of the streams, some of the plays translate through. Leave has had some great games so far, but it feels like it's really woken up. And look again how this is dismantled.
Yeah, I mean, look at this, right? He's still got the Infernum at the time he throws it out, deals with Zika, with the Q, throws out the flash is just nasty. Instantly swaps over to the chakrams as well, because that's the gun order he's got. A little bit of extra DPS. It's not the first time we've seen Leave step forward, and it is very Viper-esque, isn't it? It does bring your mind back to seeing him on that EDG lineup. And so far, can't really sing Leave's praises enough, stepping up from the LDL lineup. Just doing a fantastic job so far. And he is the main carry for EDG in this game right now.
Look, 2-2 and 2-1-1, excuse me. Now, with the Last Whisper in inventory, the shredding of people like Tarzan, Zika, up in that top lane is going to be massive. And let's remember that this game, you said, for LNG, their composition plays out very specifically. We talked about the all-in, the team fighting, right? It seems simple enough. The direction, I guess, not the direction, but rather the identity of the team, the thematic, was there a lot more. But EDG, specific windows needed to be found with Arla, with FoFo, being on objective first here with this comp. They've not only done that, but they've been able to play disengage and re-engage role pretty well here, Jamada, as they are now just cleaning up some of these turrets. With the Baron they've picked up, they've moved up to 5,000 in the lead here at 23 minutes in. And in our match of the week, they are now on Soul Point. EDG, the third place team here, going against LNG, who've only dropped a single series, are making this top team sweat.
They are. More than making them sweat. They did it top esports. Series before this, now EDG. Now looking LNG dead in the eyes. And they're not blinking first. I'll say that. LNG, they have to find something very deep out of the locker.
Could be the play onto Jiejie by himself. Hung needs his team though. No one else is there, and looks like LNG won't find the opportunity.
No, not going to be there. No one on LNG was really posturing for it. It was just Hung off to the side. They have to find Leave, but the big problem is, how do you do it? Past Maokai, past Lulu buffs. How do you get through? Because it feels like they've just not been able to. They know where FoFo is. I think they had vision of him, but when they catch him on the rotation, it's like a bit of a spy game. They know he's on blue buff now.
Will be found out though. FoFo just pulls off a blue. Tarzan and Zika are found out on the chase, and nothing comes of it yet again. So a minute 30, we wait for that countdown coming towards Dragon. Because Cloud Soul given over to a Kennen? No. Yeah. No, no.
You know, I feel like we get a lot of Cloud Souls here in the LPL, and a lot of times it's, you know, it's just movement speed and, you know, the out combat movement speed is very nice. It's very rare that we get compositions where it's more than one champion, where that active of the ultimate press is super useful. But a Kennen moving with 15% movement speed and 50% off an ultimate cost? Yeah, good luck, LNG, that's all I can say. Storms will be moving quickly, very on theme with one another. And LNG have to stop it. But the question is, again, EDG's prime setup is being in front of the objective first. How do you deal with it if you're this far, you know, behind on map pressure? I think the items are close enough that they can still fight with one another if a good combo comes out. But it just hasn't been seen yet.
Leave is just walking up. What? That was Infernum's splash. It hit LP. That wasn't even the primary target.
Okay. All right. Leave is a little bit fed, isn't he? He's a little bit powerful. Green-white as well now. It's not even the Infernum splash anymore, and that's going to be worse to walk through. I feel like LNG actually just have to give this up. I think the Hail Mary is let it go, let the Elder potentially spawn in, and see if you can fight by then. But I don't know. It's just you're just screaming riot if you see something like that.
It's a flashback, isn't it? Like I remember when this got released, like Aphelios got released. There's great compilations on YouTube talking about, you know, Aphelios when he was at his peak. There's LPL clips, there's LCK clips. There's crazy Infernum R. Like, do you remember when he just pressed R with Infernum? If he had 3 items, it was kind of game over.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. I still, to this day, I think the only way, and obviously it applies a little bit more to Aphelios' meta, and I think they should do the same thing to Gangplank, by the way, which they half did, is they need to make the Infernum ult damage scale off of crit instead of giving it the ability to potentially crit. Because the difference between a critting Infernum ultimate and a non-critting Infernum ultimate is kind of big. There's a huge difference in damage. Yeah. I hope one day they do implement it if you see more Aphelios, but like you say, back in the day, yeah, button press at 3 items, it was just a bit game over. There was not a lot of counterplay at all. We're past those days, though, thankfully.
We are. Look, we're under Zeri. It's funny because we've moved past Zeri, right? We've even gotten past that where Zeri just had that period of being absolutely busted. Then there was the Yubi period. Now I feel like we're kind of warming up to the Aurelian Soul time. You know, like maybe not as crazy as he was on release, but Aurelian Soul is definitely a champion who makes people scream. But let's be real, I think there'll always be a champion like that. You know, when a game has like 160 champions, it's very hard to have every single one at a perfect balance. Give the credit as Tarzan's trying for an angle here in the top side meanwhile, but nothing's found. LNG jungle just gets taken and the Cloud Soul was just given, and now the Baron might be the same as Aphelios has green and white. Everything is all right.
He's about to lose white. This is actually not the best gun combo. I don't know how much ammo he's got in the sniper, but he might have to empty it. Okay, all right, never mind. Leave is he's just Aphelios.
Send it to the offshore facility. Make sure he attacks evasion here for Aphelios' guns. As Zika's caught out, but FoFo just sends him away. Back to Baron they go.
Curiously enough as well, it looks like Leave doesn't want Graviton. I think he's just getting rid of it, like ASAP as well, on the wave. At the very least he did on the first one. He's holding on to green for now. Maybe he looks for an ultimate off of it. Still a very powerful ult. The Calibrum Moonlight Vigil, never mind. He wants Infernum. He wants blue purple, and that's still a very decent combo. And LNG, they're kind of caught off here, yeah. They're gonna get pincered really hard.
All it takes is Graviton to lock down, and someone's probably dying here as Arla. That ultimate has flash to combo with. EDG chasing this up as LNG trying to get away quick. They've got topside priority though. Scout does have to shove in with objective bounty, and Zika running them around the map a bit. He's going to get out too. EDG actually being chased up like chickens. Jiejie gets an engage, but he's by himself. And LNG are pulling apart the pieces, but Arla now might be caught out. However, Slicing Maelstrom comes through with Nature's Grasp on the back end. Leave has been targeted by Zika, but he's still okay with the flash away. Now they have to run. Moonlight Vigil doesn't hit more than one target though. Props to LNG for spreading EDG so thin.
Yeah, really dancing around very well. They've still got the Fate Sealed as well from Scout if they need a turnaround tool. EDG, they're going to start the Barons. I don't know how great a call this is, but with so many ultimates down on both sides, it could be alright for them to play it out, and the guns are about to fall perfectly for Leave too.
Arla's ulti not up and available. It was used before. As you said, the Severum is there, so makes it a little bit more dangerous. They're able to get objective bounty off the back of the Baron, and Tarzan won't get the steal out, and EDG now turn for the fight yet again. LNG on the path of discovery out of there. Zala chasing up yet again. Tarzan now under threat. This time around, LP pops the ulti, tries to cut it back, but Leave just rampages them down with Infernum. Flashes out, he's exhausted. It's 3 people. Aphelios time again. Leave will be sticking around unironic to his name. He chases LNG out, and just when LNG played everything so well, the Aphelios will always find you.
This is undoubtedly the biggest Giga Chad gameplay I've seen from an ADC so far this year. Leave is just a monster unleashed. And him and the rest of his team, they're going to pick up that top side tower. As in the mid lane, he's going to get caught out. Pretty sure he's dead.
Oh, he's rooted.
2 rights. He's gone.
And Jiejie punches him down. There's going to be 5 members running into the base, 50-second death timer. Just like that, at 31 minutes in, EDG might have game 1 in the palm of their hands. In our match of the week, in our first versus third, EDG put on a show that might have been a little bit slow, but I think we can call this clinical. I think we can call this solid from the new 2v2 of Edward Gaming. And LNG left with no options. Leave runs it in. The Caliber uses range. Scout tries to all in the face deals, but Leave is not hit until the very end. Now he kites it back. Meiko is a brother, saves him out. Leave can't be hit. I think LNG better adapt his name because they're getting a fast track out of this game number 1.
Oh man, it's a slaughter. Nothing more, nothing less. It was a 12-kill game in 31 minutes, but my oh my, did those 10 kills feel like slaps in the face to LNG every single time. That was a performance and a massive one from EDG. And we've got questions for LNG, don't forget, right? 8-1 sure, they've started to face up against some of these top teams now. And even though they've done very well up until this point, it feels like even in their BLG series where they did drop a game, it didn't feel like that, right? Yeah. That's for damn sure. So how will they bounce back is the big question. But for EDG, massive performance, and Leave again, just stepping up to the plate and hitting home run after home run.
It was beautiful play from a man who I think has had great moments in the split, but has never really been, excuse me, the core talking point Edge broadcast, right? It's been Scout, it's been Tarzan. Excuse me, wrong team. I'm still thinking of EDG Scout. It's been FoFo, right? In the same regard, FoFo, Jiejie's had some great moments. I think Meiko's been probably the most consistent. Leave has shown some nerves here and there, and Ala's been back and forth as well. So for this team that is now breaching upon a potential 2-0 in our match of the week or a win against LNG, it's great that they can rely on Leave. It's great they can rely on the AD carry, because we remember old EDG from last year, Jamada, was about Viper, was about this late game win condition that, okay, they set up these lanes, everyone kind of comes out, finds like a win mid-game, mitigates any kind of advantage in the other team's comp. We then get to late game, and Viper would be the core carry, would be the constant DPS, that team fight consistently. Now, Leave is starting to facilitate that role that Viper left behind.
Yeah, it really does feel like that. And don't forget, right, Leave is not particularly very far into his career. So to see him, you know, again, to reiterate the point, come up from the LDL lineup and pull out performances like this is huge, not only for him individually, but for EDG to put faith in an Academy member in a situation where he's filling in for Viper is massive. And yeah, I feel like they've really set up and even, you know, like you say, it's usually been FoFo. It's even been Meiko and Jiejie at times as well, stepping up. Leave this game really did get to show that, okay, I might be the new kid on the block, but I am not someone that you can ignore. I mean, look at the damage charts there. 24,000 damage pretty much. Barely trailing behind Ala, who had some massive, massive ultimates, and LNG could not do anything about either of them.
Yeah, Ala had massive ultimates, as you said, up towards the top side, but just his simple trading in his 1v3 survival, like, another good shout-out, because his Kennen here in this game, we thought it was going to be a little bit harder for him to play it out, but, I mean, EDG, his composition, played it out to near perfection, and it's really nice to see from a team that, again, is rebuilding their pieces. LNG are our top team at the moment in the LPL. You know, just by standings, maybe people disagree with the skill, but EDG made that one look like it was a complete macro difference. It was a you know, decision-making difference where their setup was beautiful. Their, I guess, transition